And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Thursday, July 22nd. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome a Thursday morning, and we're glad to have you with us. A little bit, I guess, smoky out there, but otherwise sun shining. Going to be a tremendous Thursday, and we're glad to be on the air for Bates Ford, 1673 West Main in Lebanon, the dealer. It'll trade for anything it don't eat. Well, our two regulars are here, Paul Tubbs and Ronnie Kelly, and let me say good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ronnie, how are you?
Doing great.
Yeah. Well, we've already, we know we're doing great because Chris Dowell comes in and the conversation starts, right?
Yes, conversation started.
So we're all waiting for him when we get through with the Bates Ford commercial. But I guess, Paul, you can get us started this morning. By the way, before you came in, I told Ronnie, I said, golf, baseball, and Bates Ford, and he says that's him.
That's it. I spent last weekend baseball. My little 13U team did good, so we ended up winning our division of the tournament. So got a little golf and certainly Bates Ford. We got a lot of things going on at Bates Ford. Vehicles. We got one day we got 4 vehicles in the same day and sold 3 of them. We've got a new Expedition, a Super Duty, F-150, and we still have one of the diesel Super Duties, but we are kind of trickling in some new inventory, fortunately. So maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel. We've got a great selection of used inventory. We've got some stuff. Ronnie got a Lincoln yesterday that's a real nice vehicle. We've traded for some great, low-priced vehicles. If anybody's looking for something in the $15,000 range, we've got a couple of trucks in that range, which is hard to come by. So we're moving along. We even changed oil on the Dodge yesterday, which is
some of our present company.
Yeah, the fire chief brought his Dodge in. I told him to keep it away from the grass. I didn't want to eat up the goat out there to eat up all my grass. But we did change oil on a Dodge. Well, service-wise, like I said, we service about anything. We have a lot of customers that bring vehicles that's non-Fords that we do a lot of service on.
Yeah. Well, Ronnie, what's good for you today?
Well, we like I said, Paul said we got some great vehicles in. We did have also a 18 Lariat with 11,000 miles, F-150, 4-wheel drive, one on a truck. We purchased that vehicle, and that's a nice vehicle. And I think that would be one that everybody's looking for. So come on in. I had about 3 people came in and looked at it already, but we got to be careful when we have those vehicles like that. You got to come in and pick them up because, like Saturday, we had a guy that came in Friday. He wanted one, and he came back Saturday, and somebody else already bought it.
Hey, you lose.
We got to hang in there now. Now we did every time, like I said, Paul, on the other side of the lot, we put all our service cars there after we get them repaired. And we had a Dodge out there yesterday. Nobody came and looked at it.
I love it.
So, people just don't turn loose in them days.
Well, that oil change is a great get acquainted thing.
Oh, it is, and we try to do it. Like I said, we don't make money on oil change. We buy the oil in bulk. We buy the filters in bulk. So we try to do where we can get a good look at your vehicle and make sure that we are, getting a good inspection and doing that. And it's kind of like a courtesy as well. But, as far as service, that's one of the reasons we're trying to build a new facility is we just stay so busy consistently. I mean, we're just swamped in service. So it's a good problem to have. But also when you run out of parking and you don't have very much to put vehicles, it becomes concerning.
Well, by the way, I don't think we've mentioned this on a Thursday, but you're part of the great giveaway at the fair. And
we
of course,
are.
You're a lot more. Your presence is a lot more at the fair. Probably a lot more than any other dealership. But you do have that little Ford, and I've got to move it twice in the last few days.
Yeah, we got a little escape. We were doing that. It was kind of a tough situation with the limited inventory that you're getting on new vehicles, and then one of the things that's really concerning is our new inventory is what we use for loaners. We're in a Ford Courtesy Transportation program where we use new Fords to loan out to our customers. Well, we certainly had some upset customers because we don't have any new inventory to put anybody in any loaners, but our great giveaway car was tough because the limited inventory that we had, it was But we did come up with something, and we certainly, Tony's very big in sponsoring and making sure that he's involved in the community, and he's very active in the fair, doing the great giveaway, the concert, sponsoring and stuff. So he takes pride in that.
Well, let's remind everybody about tires and batteries again.
Right, the batteries right now, we always have batteries, $134.95. Install them free on most cars. Some vehicles it's very hard to get to. Of course, we have to charge if it takes us half hour, an hour to do it. As far as tires, we'll meet or beat anybody's price. We always give free rotation. Ford's, deal is they'll have the best price on tires. So if you're in the market for tires, certainly give us a call. We can certainly compete with anybody.
Ronnie, you can have the last word this morning.
Okay, and also we got a great selection of used vehicles. We try to keep a lot of stuff under $10,000. We kind of slow on that right now. So if you have anything to sell, to want to turn into cash, please bring it to Bakes Ford.
Yeah, that's one of the things we hadn't mentioned this morning. But you're glad to pay cash for those vehicles.
I tell you what, we've been very successful with that program. I mean, I bet we've probably bought, I don't know, what do you think, Ronnie, 40, 50 cars off the streets? Yeah. I mean, and just like that truck he bought, a lady's husband passed. She didn't have use for the truck. She brought it down there, and we gave her, there's been a couple of people that's actually bought vehicles or done things and then brought them back. And one guy's mother passed. She bought a Mustang off the showroom floor, and we turned around and bought it back. But we have had very good success with being able to, because we'll give you top dollar and pay you right there on the spot.
And trade for anything you don't need.
Mr. Bates loves that. We got a camper right now. He's riding around the dealership the other day in a little Segway that he's got. He loves that. So,
well, y'all have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you.
Paul Tubb, Dealer Operations Manager, Ronnie Kelly in sales for 34 years. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main, the dealer. Don't trade for anything you don't eat. We're approaching 11 after the hour, and Chris Dowell joins us, our fire chief and county commissioner. And good morning.
Good morning.
You've already had your say a time or two, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Dodge that needed an oil change.
Yeah, it needed an oil change, and it was a Dodge that was sitting in the parking lot out there that, he said nobody wanted. The only reason why nobody wanted because it wasn't for sale. And you find a lot of Fords, you'll find them on any kind of car lot or whatever. So it is what it is.
I was fortunate to be honored by the county commission on Monday night, and Helen enjoyed the meeting so much she wanted to stay till it was over, which we did. And
right.
In let's say the second half at least, whenever we had the different people to report, like the sheriff, and when he got through his report, he thanked me for doing this program, but pitied me because I had to put up with you.
I know, ain't that something? I mean, that was
right
bad.
There in front of everybody.
Yeah, I know, but that was bad. But what was really bad is everybody clapping and laughing about it. So they must find some belief in that also.
Well, you came back and said that this is the day our ratings go up.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the day the ratings go up. But here's one thing: I guarantee the sheriff he probably ain't listening this morning because it's what is it, 7:15? He's still in the bed. Living in the country at 7:15 in the bed, something wrong.
I don't know about that. How are things at the fire department?
They're rolling right along.
Well, let me say something while I'm thinking about it, because I pass by your place quite often. I frequent the Senior Citizen Center, but I came by there the other day. Look, I'm thinking, how much better that looks and what the improvements that have been made since you went over there and took that building over. And then this is a compliment.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, and we're still, it's like I guess a work in progress, put it that way. We putting the final touches on the inside of the building with what they passed the other night at the city council, and that's the recording stuff that we got in there, all the wiring and stuff for audio visuals and things of that nature. But we hold several meetings in there, and we have several different organizations that come in and hold meetings there. So it works out for the whole community, put it that way. And so we're going to make it nice and keep it nice, hopefully for a long time.
Well, of course, I'm just looking at the outside, but I see a lot of improvements that have been made there, and is readily identified with the
Right, yeah.
signage and the painting that you've done out there. It's not just an old concrete building sitting there anymore.
Right. No, not anymore. And so, we've even got compliments from the school across the street, Cosbury, that it looks so much better over there. But we had, I think at one time we was going to put a couple of murals over there on the front, some kind of saying for kids where when they look out and see it, it's connected to them also.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, like I said, it's a work in progress. So we'll still be going at it here. I
You
guess
kind of made
for the-
that your headquarters, haven't you?
And that is the headquarters. Everybody comes there. If we got a massive training or whatever, meetings or whatever, they all come there to that location there.
Where'd you go before?
Before we didn't have nothing big enough to fit everybody, so we just pretty much stayed at called in 2 stations. Divided the whole city up into 2 different
Yeah,
parts.
yeah.
So now we can all get together. So
Well, isn't that a great improvement itself?
oh yeah, most definitely, because technically you don't have to have the instructor doesn't have to sit in there. Usually goes for a training. Our training goes for actually it goes for 260 hours a year. So he don't want to have to do 520 having to teach 2 different classes. So it just makes sense to do it that way.
Chris Dowell, our fire chief, is here. We've got to take a break at this moment, and more coming up on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
All right, now it's 7:16. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford, that regular oil change only $24.95, up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic still a mess over here on the west side of Nashville from this early morning incident that's had the interstate closed on 40 east and westbound between Whitebridge Pike and 440. Again, don't let that catch you off guard. Coming in from Hickman County, Dixon this morning, arriving here into West Nashville. It is a mess. A wreck 65 southbound. It's going to be just before you get to Trinity Lane. Still on the scene of this nasty wreck over here in South Nashville on Briley Parkway right at I-24, and that's what we're looking at live. Hey, Gatlinburg Wine Cellar is home of the world-famous cotton candy wine. Check them out at GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
Hey, this is Paul from Bates Ford, and we got some great things going on. We got the Works vehicle package for $49.95. Also, we'll meet or beat anybody's price on tires. And on the sales ends, if you got anything that you want to turn into cash, whether it's a vehicle, boat, camper, motorcycle, anything you want to turn into cash, bring it to Bates Ford and we'll buy it. If you got a vehicle you want to get rid of, certainly bring it to Bates Ford for a cash offer. That's Bates Ford, 1673 West Main, the dealer that'll trade for anything that don't eat.
We continue here on a Thursday morning. Let me remind you of the Special Olympics Tennessee Regional Bocce Competition coming up this Saturday, July 24th, 9 a.m. to noon at the Lebanon Special Olympics Bocce Ball Courts, Don Fox Park Annex, the Lily Pad Park. Enter the family IMED Center parking lot, and the public's invited to come and cheer on the athletes. Chris Dowell, our fire chief, is here. What else is going on with you?
Well, just same old, just a different day. It's a fight every day.
This summer any different from any others, really? Fighting fires?
No, really not fighting fires, knock on wood, not yet. But it's a little different
Accident
because
responses.
it's picking up. We're picking up more and more calls every day. That's about the norm, And so we just cracked into the new budget, and so it's unfolding and. So far, I ain't liking what I'm seeing. So, but I guess people always say, "Well, you don't never like, what you're seeing or whatever." But we just got into the new budget, and and we talked about it. I think I got five people in that budget that was hired that I could hire for, to add on to the staff or whatever. I asked for 12, got 5, which that's okay. But then we turned around and we made it up by adding the overtime. And so we added overtime to compensate for, the people that I didn't get. So, and now we can't. It was voted in, I guess, in the budget some kind of way and hidden in there, and they took away the callback per se. So when you take away the callback, what happens then is nobody's going to come to work if they have taken a day off. And then we have to call them back in for an emergency situation. Well, that's just time for time. So we got more time over there right now than we can use. And so that's going to be a problem. They contradict themselves. Put it that way.
Okay.
Not the city, but the taking off part and getting your time back. People don't want their time back because they can't take it already. We don't have enough to take it already. So we're working through that problem right there, and hopefully, in talking with the mayor, that we get some resolution to that.
Well, now, there are certain things you don't know where you're going to be fighting a fire. You don't know where there's going to be an accident you've got to go. You don't know how bad either one of them might be. This is all unpredictable. You just have to plan the best you can and hope you have enough to cover, I would think.
That's correct. But if you have a fire or you're short staffed because, you don't have enough people, would you consider that an emergency? Or would you just rather me shut down a piece of equipment or a station?
Well, if it's me you're coming to help.
It's not just you, it's the whole city. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you see where I'm at with that? And so it's just all about terminology, and they're not understanding it because they're not firemen. They sit behind a desk and try to write the rules and all of that stuff instead of listening sometimes. So, and I ain't talking about the mayor. I think he gets handed stuff sometimes, but, he's going to listen. He's going to figure it out one of these days.
Well, how are you equipment-wise? I know there's been times in the past where maybe we were a little short-handed, but didn't we pretty much get caught up?
Yeah, the equipment is good. We're having, and technically it's good because we're using cars now to take on some of these medical calls instead of running, the $900,000 piece of equipment up and down the road, wear and tear. So we can salvage a lot of it by doing that and adding these cars in to run up and down the road. You pay $40,000 for a car and you get, 10 years out of it. That's good. And if you pay $900,000 and as many calls as we're running now on these medical calls, that truck ain't gonna last 10 years. And then you got to spend $900,000 for another one. So we're going to try to make it last 20 years like we usually do.
Do you, with the influx of people, with the growth that we're having, do you anticipate more accidents to have to cover by your department?
Not just my department, it's the police department too. Sometimes, that they get stacked up with calls and they can't get a call to you. They can't get a car to you. And then you're waiting for them to send somebody to you, and I'm not fussing at them. It's just that, the city's growing. We got to add to it. So.
But the fact is, there's going to be more calls, not less. You're going to be called upon more. They are,
right,
as we continue to grow.
Yeah, I directed traffic yesterday. There wasn't a car over there, and they're busy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not fussing at them, but I directed traffic for an accident yesterday until the officer pulled up and. I told him on the radio that it's hot. Tell him to hurry up.
Is your arm sore?
No, it's not. I can still do it now. Hey, don't get me wrong. I can direct traffic with the best of them. Nobody had a wreck other than the ones that caused all of this.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's pretty much all the. Usually you get a lull in there because you start your new budget. There's really not a whole lot going on now. I will start talking about the golf tournament that comes up. But that's not until November. That's a good ways off. But
there's something that's not so far away. Is the Wilson County Tennessee State Fair.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. I've got to go sign paperwork this morning for Miss Helen. So they want to shoot the fireworks off, and I have to go sign the paper and release let them pop off all of it.
Every night, is it 9 or 10 o'clock? One or the other.
I think it's 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock, usually you're in bed. So, But no, I got to go sign the paperwork for her for that. And
We hadn't had any problem with that over the years, have we?
what, fireworks?
Out there.
I think it was, 17, 18 years ago that they turned over and caused a big ruckus out there and all that stuff. We've had one major issue since I've been around, but
I'd forgot about that.
that some of them turned over and all that stuff.
But it's not like we don't shoot fireworks for 30 minutes. It's just a little barrage.
Oh no, that's all that is. And I think the one I'm talking about was 4th of July anyway. So so it's a little different than the fair, but I'm looking forward to it though. You didn't have it last year, so people are anxious, and so I tell my guys all the time, when sooner or later we're gonna have to have a staff meeting about this, but traffic, you're not gonna be able to move. We might have to put somebody on the other side of town. This is, put somebody on that side to where we can get to them if something happens, because traffic's gonna be at a standstill. And people, if you're listening, you know this. There's no need of fussing about it. Even if you live over there in that area, the fair's coming. Be prepared. Go to Walmart. Get your stuff now, and that way you won't fuss. Get your medicines, because you're not going to be able to get out. They didn't have a fair last year, so I'm already expecting it to be probably time again what it already is, and it's a nightmare when it's out here. When it's Wilson County Fair.
What extent do you have a presence inside the gates there?
We do some medical, and then we work the whole arena. We've got all the demolition derbies, the tractor pools, the go-kart races, you name it, whatever's in that arena. Me and Mr. Joe Holbrook work it out to where I get some people out there and get him covered. So basically, in a nutshell, he sent it to me day before yesterday, and we're going to get it on the schedule today. Start on it today, getting people scheduled to go out there.
Well, now is that mostly overtime, or do you just have some of your regulars who go there instead of stay at the fire hall?
That is what I would call the scheduled overtime. People know the fair's coming in, so I will give them credit for that. But when you are short-staffed, then that's not scheduled overtime. So don't get it twisted. You're trying to walk me into something, Coleman, and I ain't falling for it.
No, I'm not. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah. But no, that's basically that is overtime, and believe it or not, they'll come and do it, and I have to push them sometimes. And odd man out is always the rookie. And sometimes it's the older guys too. I said, okay, can't send all these rookies out there. You got to go. You're the bottom on the bottom of the totem pole for the officers, so you got to go. And sometimes I go myself. If it gets to where I got to do it, I work the Tennessee Boulevard gate anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's on a volunteer basis, isn't it?
What? Oh, the Tennessee Boulevard gate.
Are you get paid when you're doing that?
I don't get paid for nothing out there. No.
Well, that's what I thought. Most people are
it's
taking
volunteer,
up tickets
yeah.
or whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
Just like
Now
like
they do
the
bring-
rest of us volunteers.
That's right. But they do bring some food down there every once in a while, and so. But yeah, that's it. And then when I get tired, I leave and go home. Well, you're supposed to work here till 7:00. Well, find somebody else. I'm volunteering. What are you gonna do? Fire me? So
Sometimes I have to question your attitude.
well, here's the thing, and that's the problem with the world. You never have to question mine, because I'm just giving you straight up facts. A lot of people hide it, and next thing you know, you're all jacked up.
We got a couple of minutes left here this morning. Is that quarry? That's not in your district, is it? Out at Salisbury?
Oh yeah,
It is?
Yeah, it's in mine. It's in 15, and so
What are we going to do about that?
we're gonna block it. I'm gonna try my best to block it. We don't need them blasting and shaking people's houses. I understand they did it, 55 or 52 years ago. That's putting the interstate in.
Yeah.
Well, not that long, quite that long, but anyway, they did it. They used it to put the interstate in, like they did all the way down the interstate. You don't see them trying to crank them up all the way down the interstate, do you? because I think they dug a hole, and there's one right there at the end of 840. You don't see them trying to crank that thing back up, do you? So, I mean, it's just one of those cases where all those people are on well water out there. Can't nobody tell us really what it's going to do to that well. And then when they
Do
get
you
in
really
there,
have that many people who have well water?
there's none out there. There's no water out there. Yeah, they're on well water. So, and nobody can guarantee anything. And then only thing that TDEC can tell you to do is go get you an attorney if something happens, and then you can take it up with them. But don't give them the permit until you know all these facts. Is what I'm saying.
All right. So, well, we know where you stand on that anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
As a county commissioner, you're fighting it.
Yeah, I stand with those people.
Okay. Well, we've come to the end of our time here, and I guess our ratings did jump a little bit this morning, although I
guarantee
don't
they
have
did.
any way of knowing.
Oh, I'll tell you.
You know.
I know.
All
yeah.
them county commissioners going to listen.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they. I know a bunch of them did this morning.
Oh, Chris, you're something else. Thanks. For
Well, I
being
got
with
one
us.
more.
Oh, one.
Can
all
I?
right.
Can I do one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Diane Weathers and Terry Ash, you can go back to sleep now.
See you next month.
Yes, sir.
That's part one of Coleman and Company. Keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And at 7:31, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Absolute Kubota Exmark. Large inventory of Exmark mowers for homeowners and commercial users. #1 selling brand, bought 2-to-1 over any other commercial mower brand. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic still a mess over here on the west side. They still have it shut down on I-40 east and westbound between Whitebridge Pike and 440. It's been that way now for 3.5 hours with this mess over here in West Nashville. Keep that in mind coming in from Dixon County, Hickman County this morning, arriving there into West Nashville. It's just terrible. Cleaning up that Reg Brawley Parkway at I-24, 1600 block at County Hospital Road in Bordeaux. That's tied up pretty good on that crash. Hey, Gatlinburg Wine Cellars, home of the world-famous cotton candy wine. Check them out at GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on tight traffic.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So, what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Today's forecast calls for a few showers here and there, otherwise skies will be partly sunny. Highs today will top out in the upper 80s. On Friday, scattered showers and storms are possible with temperatures climbing into the upper 80s. By the weekend, we'll have just a few pop-up showers. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's Look at Your Forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part two. It is a Thursday morning. Time for us to talk about the Pavilion Senior Living here in Lebanon. Heather may be dialing right now, and she might not, but Heather Sadler-Gallagher is the marketing director and is the interim administrator for the Pavilion Senior Living, located at 1409 Medical Center Drive here in Lebanon. Their location is just north of Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. And if you were going to the emergency room, instead of turning on that road, you go 1 block further, take a left, and you'll find them down there on the right. They've been there almost 5 years next month. The Pavilion Senior Living offers the best in modern amenities and services to make your life comfortable. They want things that they know that you want things in and around you to be convenient for your lifestyle, and that's exactly why they have made it their priority to make sure you have full access to all the things that make your life easier. The Pavilion Senior Living is licensed by the state of Tennessee. It's staffed 24 hours a day by certified staff. You can rest assured that the residents receive the best care and support by trained staff who truly care about the residents' well-being. They strive for their residents to maintain the highest level of independence while supporting and assisting with activities of daily living. Now, they also offer memory care. The Pavilion Senior Living offers memory care for residents who are facing Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. The program is designed to be resident-focused by creating an individual plan that includes a person's life, skills, interest, and routine into a personalized plan. The program has been designed to encompass every detail, including the design of the community, specialized training for the team, programming for activities, culinary selections, and coordination with clinical services. They want to help residents feel comfortable in their new home. So all of this is waiting for you. At last report, the community was full, but you can get on their waiting list. And honestly, if you have a special need, and even if Heather does not have the area to support you, she can direct you to somebody else who might be of help. She is very knowledgeable and does a great job as in what she does there. Heather Sadler Gallagher, and you can reach her at 615-444-5556. Also, the website, www.thepavilionseniorliving.com. So consider them, and remember the phone number, 615-444-5556, the Pavilion Senior Living here in Lebanon. Well, I have invited Jerry McFarland, Commissioner Jerry McFarland, County Commissioner Jerry McFarland, to be my guest this morning, and he's brought a special guest with him. Jerry, good morning.
Morning to you, Coleman. How are you?
I want to say that I certainly appreciate the resolution in my honor Monday night that y'all did with Sue Vanetta leading the way.
Well, you're close, Coleman.
But the big thing, the really big thing to me Monday night was what you did. Now, you have a historical moment, I believe they call that, something to recognize history, I believe, at each meeting, don't you?
Well, we have it quarterly. Sometimes if an event occurs, we do it a little more often.
But anyway, that was part of what you were to do, and then you incorporated the rest, and we're going to be talking about that this morning. But I just thought that was the whole highlight of the meeting, and you did such a great job, and you had the presentation on the screen there, and so my hat's off to you for a good job.
Thank you very much.
But thank you for being here this morning, and I'll introduce the guests that you have brought.
Well, I brought Lane Martin. Lane is the nephew, and he's kind of the lead person in the Walker family. His uncle was the captain that was killed on Tarawa, and when we found out that he was coming home and there was a Marine that was misidentified back in 1947 and placed in the grave here in Lebanon. I started working with Lane, and we've had a good relationship, and we're the military and the family and all of us are trying to correct that action. And of course, you may or may not know, but Terry Ash, myself, and a number of others have an organization we don't publicize a lot called Wilson Warriors. We had a golfing tournament recently, and our plans is once this Marine is exhumed and identified, and hopefully we can find his family, then we want to go and meet them because we're going to share with them what we know. That's one of our goals, Terry Ash myself. So.
All right. Well, Lane Martin, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. Thank you for having me.
And I know that you and your family appreciate what they did the first thing Monday night at the commission.
Oh, yes. Jerry did an excellent job. We were so impressed.
Didn't you think, Jerry?
Yeah. The entire family was, and very much thankful for that.
Well, were you born by...
No, I was not, but my Uncle Glenn and also his father, Judge Ed Walker, I've been told about them all my life and aspired to be like them and all. They were both very good men.
Well, I've heard a lot about Judge Ed Walker, and Jerry mentioned the other night. I'll steal your thunder here a little bit, but do this quickly. He was they called him, I believe, the county judge at that time.
That's correct.
He served, 1915 to 1940?
That is correct, quarter of a century.
And Jerry said when he went in, we had no high schools, and I forgot what else, but there were 3 high schools when he went out of it.
There were no paved roads when he took office, and then by the time when he died in office in 1940, there were over 100 miles of paved road.
Yeah. But Captain Glenn Walker, his son, is who we are talking about this morning.
It's kind of hard to tell one story without talking about the other.
Well, of course, all you know is what you've been told. You
That's
were not
correct.
born when he was killed in action over there, but you've heard a lot of stories.
Yes, I have.
Well, how is he remembered by your family? What have your aunts
Sure.
and uncles told you?
So there's so much. Just for starters, in the home that I grew up in, which was the same home which he grew up in our kitchen, not out in the living room, but in our kitchen, there was my Uncle Glenn's picture, as well as the Purple Hearts were always displayed there. So I would see it every day of my life, and all, getting up in the mornings as a young boy and all. But there's so many stories. Robert Bone is a cousin of mine, and he was actually alive when they brought him back in 1947, and he went to the funeral, what was at that time what they thought was my Uncle Glenn, and he is going to speak at the funeral and relate what that was like.
Well, is the funeral open to the public?
Yes, it is.
And it'll be at Fairview Church?
That's correct.
When is that?
It's 3 o'clock this Saturday.
Okay, this Saturday afternoon,
Yep.
day after tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, and then is it a private burial or is that?
No, there will be a full military honors funeral, and then with the help of Jerry and Commissioner Terry Ash, there's going to be a military flyover with 4 Black Hawk helicopters, but it's certainly open to the public, and it's going to be something to see.
Okay, Jerry, in about 5 minutes, we need to take a break. I want you to take the next 5 minutes, if you need that much, and probably will. Tell us the story that you presented the other night about Glenn Walker, his education, his involvement in the military, and as top of your head here, you know it all.
Well, we've kind of alluded to it, knowing the family of Judge Walker. Glenn grew up here in Wilson County, Lebanon. Graduated from Lebanon High School, a school that his father was very influential in building. Graduated from Lebanon High School, and then he did a little short stint at Coleman University, and I think he was a very athletic guy, and he was on all the ball teams at high school, so he played a little ball there, and there's one of the photographs there in front of you that shows him playing football there on the old field right off West Spring Street there. But he did that, then he went on to University of Tennessee, got his degree there, and then went on to law school at Harvard University. He, just get accepted to Harvard is a big thing. So he was at Harvard in 1940 when the passing of his father took place. He came back here, and as I was sharing the other night, in 1940, the world was upside down. We think it is now, but it was really then. The Germans had gone into Poland and France, and Japanese had gone into China, Indochina, Manchuria, and many of the islands in the Pacific, and it was just a matter of time. Well, he obviously recognized that and volunteered for the Marine Corps of all things, and went through the officers candidate school at Quantico, got his commission as a second lieutenant, and over the next 3 years rose up to the officer rank of captain. Made his first assault at Guadalcanal. He was 2nd Marine Division. Terry Ash's father was in the 1st Marine Division. They were pretty much side by side there. They actually were on line, the 2 divisions were. But they knew each other. Mm-hmm. Both were from Lebanon, Henry Ash. And he was wounded at Guadalcanal. And all those that were wounded, then they were evacuated down to New Zealand, to hospitals. And I think Glenn went through the R&R there and got healed up, probably met a few girls, so the story goes, and he was kind of a guy around town, so to speak. But then he was they mobilized after a while and got the 2nd Marine Division back online, and of course they went into Tarawa, and that was where he was killed there very early in the battle.
Well, now this was a small island, as you explained, but it had a strategic airport, I believe.
That is correct. The width of the island, as I said the other night, is about from the courthouse to the center of the square. It's very, very narrow. It's like a non-floating airstrip, basically, and it's probably 1.5 miles long. But it was strategically located, and the old battleships could shoot 20 miles with their onboard artillery cannons, but airplanes could fly out to 250 miles and do the same amount of damage. So air was necessary then. So airfields were necessary, though. Had to take that island because it was Japanese airfield, air base there. So that's where the captain lost his life there on that initial assault.
Well, I think there was from the way you described this, I believe a terrible battle, and that there was a lot of casualties, I think, on both sides.
There were. The Japanese bragged that they couldn't take it in 100 years with a million men. Of course, that was not the case. The Marines took it in 74 hours, but very high cost.
But then after the battle and the burial and all of this, I guess, is what started the mix up in identification.
That is correct. Generally, casualties would be buried where they fell, marked as best they could with the rifle, bayonet, helmet. After the war, 46 or 604th, Graves Registration went in and they kind of gathered up the remains as they could find them and actually got them into several different smaller cemeteries. And we're still don't know exactly whether he was buried, excuse me, in Cemetery 33 probably was, and then eventually they consolidated those burial places into Lone Palm Cemetery, and then, of course, he was removed from there and taken to Hawaii to where DPAA, the lab that registers and identifies people is. So he was moved around several times, but there was another 500 or 600 that were too, just on that one island. There are two numbers out there that official deaths. One is around 1,150, and the other one's around 1,700. And so I have a little trouble, which was it, but there was the confusion and the misidentification that took place then. It was just horrible.
Well, I think that's understandable in the heat of the battle and all of this. Plus, we have much more modern ways of identification today that we didn't have in 1943. Correct. Is that when it's 43?
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right, it's time for us to take a break. Jerry McFarland is with us, and we also have Lane Martin here. We'll talk more with Lane when we come back. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
It's now 7:46. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by Bates Ford and that low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still a mess over here on the west side of town where they still have it closed on 40 east and westbound between White Bridge Pike and 440. Some power lines were also taken down in the process of this terrible wreck that happened over here earlier. It's got traffic confused at times coming down I-40 as you come in from Kingston Springs and from Dixon County this morning. Keep that in mind. Briley Parkway, I-24 is still trying to clean up that crash. Ripley's Aquarium, PJ Party with the Penguins coming up. Check it out at Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
West Tree Service, locally owned and operated in Lebanon, Tennessee. With over 25 years experience, our primary goal is to provide high-quality professional service with attention to detail. At West Tree Service, we use better equipment to be more efficient, which equals reasonable prices for our customers. We offer free estimates with no obligation. We are licensed and fully insured. West Tree Service, honest service that's professional, courteous, and on time. For more information, visit westtreecare.com or call 615-456-2011.
It's your first day in business, a new space, real investors, and butterflies the size of dinner plates. For peace of mind, protect your dream and call THW Insurance. Local folks representing quality companies like Westfield Insurance. Whether your business is large or small, contact Lori Carter of THW at 615-547-5632 or stop in and see her at the Wilson Bank and Trust West Main office.
30 letters from Glenn.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us here on this Thursday morning. We have Jerry McFarland, we have Lane Martin. And Lane, we, of course, there's been quite a bit of publicity. If my memory's right, it's a really fine newspaper article that told this whole story. So yes. I hope people are not getting tired of hearing it. But I'm wondering what was the reaction from you and the family when you found out of the misidentification?
So as we all know, in March of 2020, the tornado had come through, and the day after the tornado, my wife and I had rode through town, looked at the damages. I walked back into my home, and there's a lady leaving a voicemail on our phone. We still have a landline, and she begins to mention my grandmother's name, and she mentions my cousin Grissom Walker, who moved away from Lebanon 50 years ago. And then she says, I'm trying to find next of kin of Glenn Walker. And you asked about reaction. I thought this is a hoax and all, but the fact that she knew those names of people that had long since gone, I said, I'm going to call her back. And so I did call her back, and she went on to tell me that the man buried next to my grandfather was not my uncle, that my uncle had been buried for the third time in 1949 in the Punch Bowl, the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific. And we would go on and talk probably over an hour. And finally, I just said...
Well, it didn't take you long to realize this was authentic. Then.
No. Well, here's the key. So I said, ma'am, how tall is the person you have in Hawaii? And she said, let me look just a moment. She comes back and says he was 6'3". I've been told all my life that I was just as tall as he was. And when she said that, a shiver came over me. And it's at that time I knew for certain that they had my uncle. And then just as soon as I got off the phone, I began to tell my family. And the reaction was we were all just very excited and very happy and astonished at the same time. And all, but it's been so good. It's reunited our family, stirred up all our relationships. We will have people from California, from Florida, and from Georgia, as well as here in Middle Tennessee, will be at the funeral. Close to 100 cousins will be at the funeral. So we're all very happy that this has been resolved.
Yeah,
and all. So it's been great.
Well. What I guess you're working with Terry Ash, and maybe you're expecting a big traffic jam or problems in that area, Jerry?
We do. First of all, as Glenn said, there's numerous cousins and kinfolk that will be coming. Plus, it's open to the public. But we have a number of veterans that are motorcycle riders that just want to help bring the man home, bring the captain home. And I think probably somewhere over 100, probably a little less than 200 yesterday, brought him out of Nashville. And there'll probably be 3 to 4 times that many at the funeral, carry him to the grave. So,
well, this is something I think that you and Terry Ash kind of, it's sort of your calling in a way, and it's something that you really get involved in, and I'm glad we have some people who feel that way.
Well, it came about because Bill McDowell sits in front of me at church, and I went to church one Sunday, and he started telling me about this, and I said, that's unbelievable. So I said, well, do you have all the military honors and stuff lined up? And he said, I don't know what's lined up. Glenn is taking care of all this. Lane's taking care of all this, and so we wound up meeting at the Veterans Plaza and finding out all about what was going on. And I kind of got in a loop, and Terry got in a loop, and Mary Hutto got in a loop, and then it's just kind of evolved to trying to make sure this thing comes down the way it's supposed to. So,
wanna do some family ties, history, whatever here. We've mentioned the McDowells, but
that's correct.
Who do you know? Do you know the children Judge Ed Walker had? Can you name them?
Yes, of course I can. So Glenn was the second of 4 children. The oldest person was my Aunt Catherine Allen, and she would marry J.P. McDowell.
Okay.
And then she had 3 children. Marilyn was the oldest, and Marilyn has passed. And then there's Jimmy McDowell and Bill McDowell.
Well, I got to interrupt you here.
Yeah.
Marilyn and I graduated from high school together, so I knew her. I've known Jimmy for a long time.
Right.
Of course, Jimmy and Bill both were good football players.
Yes, they were.
And actually, Jimmy played basketball, and I'm not sure about Bill, but I know them. But so that's the first one. Okay.
So then the next person would be Glenn's younger brother, and that would be James Carver Walker, and all. He was quite the character, and he went by the name of Sheik, and all. And and then he would have. He had 5 children. His oldest child was Nancy, and just since we found out about Uncle Glenn, she's passed away. And then Jim Walker, who will be at the funeral, and then Marianne Walker Bain is from Lebanon here, and then as well as Robert Walker, who's coming in from California. And then there's my family. My oldest brother is Glenn Martin, and my older sister Catherine she's Catherine Gibson now. She's named after my Aunt Catherine Allen, and she will be coming in from Atlanta, Georgia. And then I have a younger sister, Gail Bentley, and all. So that's the family.
All right, now, and your parents are
Lillard and Frances Martin.
okay.
And all.
What have you done work-wise, occupation-wise?
Well, I started out after graduating from college. I began as a computer programmer, and then became an independent consultant after that, and would do service around town. And then I went into IT sales and selling staffing and all, and worked for various companies. Worked for a company based out of India for about 6 years. That was very interesting, and I got to go to India 4 times. And
well, I guess since Glenn is, I'm taking it he's more musically inclined.
yeah. Oh gosh, it skipped a gene, or what a gene skipped on me. I can play the radio. That's about all I can play. And also,
well, I've had Glenn on several times, and of course he's been
extremely talented.
Yeah,
I don't have that.
Knows his music and knows who does music well. And
yes, he does.
Has made great contributions at the Jazz Festival.
Yes,
and
he has.
Did
just
the
this
other
last weekend.
Right,
yeah.
right. Well, is there? You brought a picture here. You brought. Let's talk about this for a minute.
Sure, the Purple Heart.
Actually, didn't he get 2 of those?
He did. So he was wounded on November the 11th in 1942 at the Battle of Guadalcanal, and it's very interesting. He's sending letters back to my grandmother. We have those letters where he's trying to assure her that he's all right. And she actually, before she can find out, that she actually sent a telegram to the Marines saying, "Tell me what's going on with my son," and all. And I have all that and all, and have the handwritten letters. And there's multiple letters. And Glenn would, he was wounded on November the 11th, and then he would return to active duty by sometime in January in 43. So
well, now was that pretty typical that you get wounded and return to action when but still that's asking a lot.
Well, in the letter, I don't know if he's trying to calm his mother or what, but he says it was just a flesh wound and all. But we've got extensive medical records from his personnel file that says he had shrapnel in his hip and in his rib cage and also I think it was a little bit more than a flesh wound. But then the Purple Heart you have there is the Purple Heart with the gold star,
right? And
that's what you're awarded when you're dead or killed in action. And that's where the term Gold Star Mothers comes from.
Is there much to go on as to? I mean, it was a terrible battle trying to take this little small island there. Is much you know of what happened?
So my grandmother kept this amazing scrapbook, and so there's over 30 letters from Glenn. And then when he's killed, you begin to see her send letters out to other soldiers, and so she actually got letters back from several of the men, and also a letter from a Time war correspondent that was there covering the battle, and they're all very well written. There was a Lieutenant Messner, so he was the only surviving officer of Company E, and he wrote back, and he describes what he thinks happened, that Glenn actually made a beachhead, he and these officers did, but all of them but him, which was about 6 men, were almost immediately killed. And what Officer Messner says is that Glenn did establish the beachhead, and you have to realize they were wading through the water. So most of the communications and radios had completely failed at this time. And so they think that he went back to talk to one of the Higgins boat drivers, one of the landing craft, and was hit by a mortar at that time. And then we have another letter from a Private Jackson that says he was in one of the Higgins boat just about 20 yards away, and says he saw the shell actually hit the boat and it killed every man there. Oh. So, and then.
Well, somebody said war is hell, and I don't think we disagree with that.
I've read the stories of that battle. They had to literally fight for every inch of that very small island.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Okay, we've got time to conclude here this morning. Lane, Jerry suggested that he bring you out, and I'm really glad he did. You've added so much to the program this morning. As far as I know, this is the first time I've ever had opportunity to meet you.
Yeah, same here. I've always heard of you and heard you on the radio.
I appreciate you being with us this morning, and thanks for what you brought here. And Jerry, kind of back to you, The funeral is going to be this Saturday at Fairview Church. What's it? 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Okay.
Yes.
But prior to that, what's going to happen?
Well, there'll be visitation, of course, and of course, hopefully, we're going to have the 4 Black Hawk helicopters land beside
Well,
the church.
what about, is Ligon and Bobo involved in
Ligon and Bobo is the funeral directors. That is
Well, now,
correct.
was anything at the funeral home itself?
Just the family yesterday and the remains, and he will remain there today. They're going to exhume the other Marine. He's an honorable Marine. We got to find out who he is and pay same honors to him with his family if we can find him. That's that's the thing.
Okay.
But then the funeral, of course, as he said, will be Saturday at 3 o'clock, and hopefully we'll have everybody lined there and then proceed to the cemetery.
Okay. Well, I know there's been a lot of coverage on this, but I think hopefully we've added a little bit to it this morning. And I thank both of y'all for coming out.
Thank
Jerry,
you so
did
much
a
for
good
having
job
us.
the other night.
Thank
you
you,
did a
sir.
great job today. Lane, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
That is going to do it for a Thursday. We'll invite you to join us tomorrow for Coleman and Company. And until then, I wish you a tremendous day.